New details are emerging about one of Nigeria's worst ever mass school abductions. 50 of the 303 children abducted from a Catholic school in north-central Nigeria have managed to escape. The Christian Association of Nigeria says the children, aged between 10 and 18 years, returned home individually over the past 2 days, and they are now safe with their families. 253 children, however, are still missing, along with 12 teachers. The group warns that the final numbers may continue to change as the search operations continue. All schools across the Niger state were ordered closed yesterday after intelligence warnings of a heightened risk of attacks. Now, Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand met today with her Nigerian counterpart at the G20 summit in Johannesburg. Anand says they discussed, quote, continued collaboration on defending democracy, expanding economic opportunities, and strengthening the relationship between our countries. And she also expressed support for the country's efforts to stop the wave of kidnappings. We want to dig deeper into this story. It's a troubling one. 300 children have gone missing. And for that, we turn to Bulama Bukarti. He's a human rights advocate and he's a security analyst. And I want to thank Bulama for making time for us today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Natasha. Thank you for having me.
Bulama, this is shockingly familiar in the Nigerian story. I mean, it was 11 years ago where Boko Haram kidnapped hundreds of girls from schools. And here we are again, a similar scenario playing out. Why does this keep happening?
It is indeed a similar scenario, a familiar scenario, unfortunately. This is the 13th kidnapping of schoolgirls in mass or children. And in these 13 incidents, about 2,000 Nigerian school children have been abducted. Unfortunately, even from March last year to today, 4 of these incidents have happened in different parts of Nigeria. It is a reflection of the fact that Nigeria is no longer facing a single security threat. We are now facing a mosaic of armed actors who are constantly fragmenting, changing location, and rebranding. And it is also an indication that our response to this threat has evolved slower than the threat itself. And therefore, armed groups continue to operate in rural areas of Nigeria where there is very minimal government presence or footprint, where there are no access roads and basic services, and that allows them to operate, to recruit, and to tax civilians.
Bulama, as you're speaking, we were showing images because I just want to repeat some of the numbers that you've said. There's been 13 abduction incidents at schools, more than 2,000 children taken from their schools and from their homes. And just this week, there's been 3 incidents, including the one that we were showing because it happened at a church that was live streaming the services when armed men charged in and started attacking people. So it's just shocking what's happening here. At this point, do we know who's behind these latest series of attacks?
Yeah, I mean, we have a hint of who are behind this latest series of attacks. In the Northwest, the major culprit for these attacks are locally, they are organized criminal gangs locally called bandits, and they operate, attack communities, schools, markets, and abduct many people for economic reasons. They extort ransoms and they release those they abduct. Now, unfortunately, one of the factors responsible for the escalation of this crisis is Nigeria's inability to tackle the kidnap for ransom industry that has become a lucrative business model now. Kidnappers make millions of naira, hundreds of thousands of dollars every single year in this industry. And the more money they extort, the more they are able to stock more weapons. The more money they extort, the more experience they get and their ability to expand to other places. But in the northeastern part of Nigeria is a violent extremist group claiming to fight for Islam, which has killed about 35,000 people over the past 10 years and has displaced over 2 million. While in other parts of Nigeria, there are communal militias who are claiming to protect their communities and launching attacks on other Nigerians. So it's a mosaic of armed actors, and it is an indication, like I said, that our response to the threat has evolved very slow. The threat has evolved faster than our response.
So Bulama, let me ask you, because Nigeria I mean, it doesn't get the kind of coverage that it deserves, but this is a prosperous nation, rich in minerals and talent and resources and education. There's a wealth of resources there, both in terms of the environment and in terms of personnel. So why isn't this a top priority? Why isn't the government or the police services or the armed security factions or the military able to stop this?
I mean, you are right. Nigeria is a blessed country, is one of the most blessed countries in the world, with diverse human and natural resources, with diverse cultures, religions, and ways of life. Unfortunately, the governments continue to say they are doing their best. Every government votes billions of dollars into security, but the situation continues to escalate. Part of it is very weak capacity for early or rapid response and rapid reinforcement. There is often intelligence in communities by intelligence agencies that an attack is likely in a specific place, but the government, the security agencies do not have the capacity to respond effectively and quickly to tackle the threat. And the more these threats continue, the more they fester and flourish, because others will see it and they will mimic it. And those groups also splinter and they rebrand and they change locations. And then it becomes very difficult for the government, and the security forces become very, very stretched. Until today, Nigeria does not have a nationwide coherent strategy that is backed by capacity to act. And that is what is being exploited. There are questions of misappropriation of funds, corruption in the defense and security sector, some of them credible in previous administrations, which have never been investigated and therefore have not been tackled. And I think that's continuing to contribute to the fact that Nigerian security forces are still dealing with outdated weapons and equipment. They still lack basic capacity in terms of how to act quickly and effectively.
Bulama, you have spent so much of your career studying extremism and these violent groups in sub-Saharan Africa. I really want to understand, because for so many of us, it's unfathomable. How do you just take 300 children? So what happens to these kids? Where do they go? Are they being abused? Are they being assaulted? Where are they? What happens to them?
I mean, it is unbelievable, unfathomable, like you said, Natasha, even in comic books or fairy tales or movies, for 300 school children to be taken and just disappear into thin air. But it's happening in Nigeria. It's a reality. Part of it is because we have large swaths of large jungles in Nigeria that have not been kept or developed for many years. And therefore, these criminals are able to operate from inside those jungles where there are no access roads, and therefore where Nigerian security forces want to chase them, they have heavy machinery which cannot go into those forests. And these people operate in motorcycles, strong motorcycles that are fast, that are in a coordinated way, and they are very familiar with the terrain. Part of it is a large country with a lot of ungoverned spaces or minimal government footprint. But like I said, the engine of the kidnap for ransom industry, which is the money, has not been taken out of it. Nigeria's borders are very, very porous, and it is an overstretched security system in the country. You are right, it's unbelievable, but it is happening in Nigeria. And I think the Nigerian government needs to do better to tackle this unfathomable crisis.
Do you think if there was more pressure from the international community, let's say a tweet or a message from President Donald Trump threatening the Nigerian government, does that help?
Unfortunately, Trump and his ilk are misrepresenting fundamentally the reality of the situation on the ground. They are framing Nigeria's complex security crisis as a genocide or persecution of Christians, and Trump's comments have given an opening to rappers like Nicki Minaj and the disgraced Canadian politician, a former lawyer who was disgraced. They are coming online to spew hatred and ignorance about Nigeria. And what that is doing on the ground in Nigeria is that it is dividing our community. Muslim and Nigerian Christians should be uniting right now. It is also distracting our government. The National Security Advisor, Nigeria's National Security Advisor, should be in our country right now trying to get a grip on the situation. but he was forced to travel to the United States of America to explain a situation that he did not understand. And so Trump's tweets are not helping matters. They are dividing us. It is misrepresenting the situation on the ground, and he is oversimplifying a complex situation. What can help is coordinated, targeted, strategic Western help to the Nigerian government. And the way you do that is to cooperate with the Nigerian government. We need capacity building in terms of intelligence sharing, air logistics, border control, stuff around building rapid response and rapid reinforcement teams among the Nigerian security forces. And if Trump, if his intention is good, he should be working with the Nigerian government to understand the real problem and work with the Nigerian government towards tackling this, the problem, rather than dividing Nigerians by spewing hatred and ignorance.
Bulama Bukarti, a real pleasure to speak with you, sir. Thank you so much for your insights today.
Thank you, Natasha. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure.